1940, France had more troops, stronger defenses, a fortress so advanced it was called impenetrable. So how did they lose World War II in just 6 weeks? Because they weren't preparing for the next war. They were still fighting the last one. And the same mistake that destroyed them might be setting you up for failure too. France didn't collapse from weakness. It collapsed from confidence. After the brutal trench warfare of World War I, France vowed never to fight that battle again. The answer was the Maginot Line, a vast system of concrete bunkers, underground barracks, and heavy artillery stretching hundreds of miles along the German border. It was a marvel of engineering. Safe, secure, static. Built to stop a repeat of the past. But that was the problem. Because when a system is built solely to prevent yesterday's disaster, it can become blind to tomorrow's danger. And the Maginot Line became more than a defense strategy. It became a national mindset, a symbol of certainty, a psychological anchor, and certainty rarely adapts. The fortress didn't just cost money, it consumed belief. A belief that the right preparation could guarantee peace, that enough concrete, steel, and planning could control the future. But strategies optimized for the past often grow rigid, and what starts as strength becomes inflexibility. And this pattern appears in every domain. A business builds systems to prevent its last failure and misses the shift that renders its model obsolete. A person builds emotional walls to avoid past pain and ends up cutting themselves off from connection. When all energy is spent avoiding what came before, little remains for facing what comes next. In the years before the invasion, French intelligence ran simulations. War games in 1937 and 1938 showed that Germany could push tanks through the Ardennes, a dense forest on France's northeastern flank. Commanders raised concerns. Reports came in. Reconnaissance showed movement. But the data didn't fit the doctrine. High Command believed the Ardennes were impassable, too rugged, too slow, not worth defending. So the warnings were ignored. Germany saw the blind spot and exploited it. While Allied forces moved into Belgium to face a frontal assault, German tanks slipped through the forest behind them in a maneuver known as the Sichelschnitt, the sickle cut. It was bold, unexpected, and devastatingly effective. On May 10, 1940, the invasion began. By May 12th, German forces had broken through at Sedan. In just 3 days, the heart of France's defensive strategy was rendered meaningless. The Maginot Line, 10 years in the making, was simply bypassed. Its guns, its bunkers, its troops left pointing the wrong direction. The line that was supposed to stop Germany became a wall that boxed France in. But the real collapse wasn't just tactical, it was cognitive. The French command structure, built around a fixed plan, froze. Entire battalions were left paralyzed, not because they lacked courage, but because their worldview no longer matched reality. And when belief systems break faster than leaders can adjust, the result isn't resistance, it's surrender. On June 22nd, France capitulated. A country that had once held off Germany for 4 brutal years fell in just 6 weeks. France did not lose because its systems failed. It lost because the entire strategy had been built to win the last war, not the next one. What was once a brilliant solution became an outdated monument. What had once protected, now constrained. This is the hidden cost of past success. expertise that turns into arrogance, strength that calcifies into inflexibility, certainty that stops asking questions. The most dangerous moment isn't when failure strikes. It's when a plan works so well, no one thinks to challenge it. This pattern isn't unique to France or to war. It shows up in every field. The expert whose skills are no longer relevant, but whose identity depends on them. The company that scales an old model only to find the market has moved. The leader who relies on certainty while the terrain underneath them shifts. What once worked perfectly becomes the very thing that prevents adaptation. And when the environment changes faster than the strategy, collapse comes quickly, not as a slow erosion, but as a sudden break. The fall of France offers a brutal lesson. What protects today may trap tomorrow. What once secured survival may now guarantee defeat. But this is not a call to abandon structure, planning, or strength. It is a call to build adaptability into the foundation of all three. Because the only defense that holds in a changing world is the one that never stops evolving.